What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Space Arena Ground Arena, where we cover Star Wars Unlimited from the ground up into space. I'm BananaCrapshoot. Tonight, I have two very welcome guests. We have Tony. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for being here. And we also have Sam. What's up, Sam?
Hey, what's going on? Glad to be back.
Yeah. So this is a very special. Every edition of Space Arena Ground Arena is very special, but this one is extra special. One, because Tony's on it, and two, because you guys both just got back from the Galactic Championships. So that's basically what this episode's going to be. If you saw the panelists, you saw that I was supposed to be there. I had stuff happen, come up, so that I could not make it. So I apologize for those that were looking for me when I wasn't there.
Yeah, that was a total bummer.
Yeah, tell me about it. But that's all right. We move on. As always, next year, hopefully. So, how was the trip to Vegas? Let's start with that. How was each of your guys' flights, drives? Did you guys drive like DDA, or were you flying?
No, airborne.
Yeah,
In
definitely.
retrospect, that was my first mistake. I got there very late on Thursday night. Like I worked a full day Thursday and then took like an evening flight. And so I got to my room probably about, well, it was like 11 p.m. local time, but on East Coast time, it was like 2 a.m. So
Yeah.
Yeah, about the same for me. I definitely, if I go out again next year, I will go at least a day earlier to get more acclimated with the time zone before trying to play in an event.
Yeah. And how was the Venetian itself? Like, how was the hotel, the casino, the conference center, like the whole deal? How was that?
So neither of us stayed there, so we'll throw that out there first. I was at Treasure Island, and Sam, you were at Paris,
yeah,
right? So we don't have the scoop on the hotel rooms per se, but I thought the conference area was nice. It was decently laid out. I mean, if you've seen a conference area, you've seen the exhibition hall. It kind of is what it is.
yeah. I'll say I kind of liked staying off-site. Like I enjoyed every morning getting to do like a little 15, 20-minute walk from where I was staying to the play site just to like, get the blood flowing, get some fresh air. It's actually in Vegas, like it's very hot during the day, but in the morning, like when you were walking to the event center, it was kind of cool out, so it was nice. I like that part of it. And yeah, I thought the conference center area was pretty good. I mean, we'll be back there again next year, so
And the year after that.
yeah, I'll say like my one, I mean there's nothing they can do about this. If they had more entrances available, I think that would be a positive than what they do have. I don't know if there's a way for them to like open up like the back side of the hall or something, but we'll talk about the lines and how to getting into the event, I'm sure, in a minute here. But overall, I mean, is big enough space and kind of set off from the casino traffic. I know it's funny, like every night leaving and then like whatever other events are coming out, there's like a huge Backstreet Boys event or whatever, so like you would leave and pass all the Backstreet Boys people go
Yeah,
in the other direction, which was pretty amusing.
the entrance to the sphere is right there.
Yeah.
But as we were leaving, all of the women our age, basically, is what it was, all dressed in white. We're going to the Backstreet Boys concert. So it was interesting. Bunch of Star Wars nerds leaving, Backstreet Boys people coming in.
I feel like those two fan bases there's a lot of overlap there. Those if there's a Venn diagram, Star Wars card games and Backstreet Boys fans, they're both in the center.
Right.
So from the pictures I saw, it looked like there was like X-Wings and TIE fighters. And could you guys get in them? Because I saw pictures of like some people in a cockpit, or was that like a separate area? That stuff looks super cool.
I did not get in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. It did look cool, but it's just like, yeah, it was on the other side of the hall. I would have liked to have spent more time over there, honestly, but like day one was such a mess with the side events that I didn't really like have, I don't know, just got lost going over to check that stuff out. And then day two and three, I was like playing in the main event the whole time, and they closed the hall. They closed that part of the hall before the like main event rounds ended for the day.
Yeah, and that was a big complaint of a lot of people. I didn't play in day 2 or day 3, so I mean I got the chance to roam around a bit more. But by the time anyone was done, either with the Galactic Open or the the championship itself, the other hall was closed. Like, so if you were in either of those events, you basically didn't get to see any of that other stuff.
Things.
Yeah, but I would say overall, all things, packaged together, I'd probably give it like a solid B. I mean, they did a lot of stuff really well. There were some things that definitely can be improved upon for next year, but it was, overall a pretty good experience, and I came away from it feeling like I got my money's worth out of the whole deal, I guess.
It's good. So Thursday night, you guys fly in super late / early, however you want to look at it. Friday morning, you wake up. Registration opens at what time? You guys get your badges, you get your stuff. And then Sam had a bye because he won 3 PQs. So he didn't have to play Friday. So he was, I know, planning on playing a bunch of side events that didn't exactly go the way he planned. And then Tony, you played in day 1. So why don't you guys talk me through your Fridays?
Sure. Tony, I'll kick it off. So yeah, I did have a bye, but unlike I wasn't actually just like skipping the first day of the event. Like I had some friends who I don't get to play with regularly from out of town who came in. So like personally, I was actually really looking forward to playing some side events, like getting in a draft pod with people I don't get to play with normally and that kind of thing. And really like we entered the hall, milled around just maybe for a few minutes, and then figured out like they didn't open the side event line right away. Because I guess there was something with the league pass that it was like everybody was trying to get the league pass, so they shut down the lines for a while just to be like league pass only. By the time they opened side event registration, which was just confusing of what was happening, like the first round of the main event was already over. So at this point, it's like, I don't know, 10 o'clock. So they like opened the side event line, and so me and a couple people that weren't in the main event that I was trying to do side events with got in line. But it was like 2 hours until we got to the front of the line, and at that point I had to go to the like buy luncheon or whatever that I had signed up for. FFG did like a lunch for people who had got a day 1 buy, which was very nice. I have no complaints about the lunch. It was a cool thing, but it just like I spent the whole morning standing in line, didn't actually get to play in any events, and then went to lunch. And then by the time I came back, the line situation was like a little better. The problem is it kind of like created this frenzy because like everybody had not been able to play all morning, and so then like people who were really interested in the Luke Vader showcases, which was not really a goal of mine going in. Like I kind of said to some people walking in, I wasn't really going to try to like chase hard the showcases or whatever, just because I wanted to focus on the main event and playing the game and having fun with people. But because the morning was such a like write-off, I feel like everybody who was like very interested in the showcase was like, okay, we have to just grind now because like we wasted half the day just standing in a line. So then it became this thing where like all these groups were just, there to get tickets as fast as possible, basically. So no events really. Like I spent the afternoon. I got roped into this group of 8 that was like trying to grind tickets, but I didn't actually like play any real games. The only thing I successfully did was sign up for the 4 p.m. Super Sealed event, which was great. That was the best part of Friday. But like that started at 4 p.m. and went 6 rounds. I mean, it lasted till like 9 o'clock at night, which by the time it was done, it's like I need to like get out of here and get some like food and get some sleep. So that event was really cool. The only problem was that the first thing I actually did that I wanted to do was at 4 p.m. on Friday night. I would have liked to have done that at like 10 a.m. when I got there, but um I don't know. That's just, that was the Friday experience for me, I guess.
So my Friday experience, I did play in day 1. So registration opened at 8 o'clock, I believe, that day. So there was a very long line, first off, to get into the registration area. But apparently, the day before, when they did the early registration, they had run out of side event tickets. So if you got the premium or the VIP package, you also got side event tickets with your package. So you could, just go and play side events quick. So you didn't have to go and get separate tickets. But they ran out of those. So they created another line for just people who registered the day before but needed side event tickets. So that was another line. So once I got into registration, it was pretty easy there. There were 6 different lines for registration, plus separate ones for VIP. So that went fairly quickly. I was able to get side event tickets, but they ran out again. So the people who were standing in line to get their side event tickets from the day before stood in that line basically for no reason because they ran out of tickets again. So that was kind of my first hour or so there. So once that finished up, I did head up to the hall, just kind of got ready for the day one event. We'll just gloss over that I did pretty poorly. So I ended up going 0-3 and dropping, unfortunately. Just wasn't my day, and that's fine. So after dropping, though, I was able to get, this was after the morning side event story that Sam had of waiting in the line for basically 2+ hours and then not even getting to play anything. So by the time I was able to get into the line, it was going a little quicker. They had separated it off for Premier Pods, Sealed Draft, and Win a Box. So you were able to at least queue up for whatever you wanted to play. I ended up getting a few Premier Pods in, and then probably the highlight of my day was getting in a draft pod with Mike and David from Unplayable and also Brian from Golden Dice. So we just got in a draft pod, played a draft, and that was a good time. So I enjoyed that, but that's kind of my Friday. Wasn't much else going on.
Yeah, it's unfortunate the line thing, we had to go through that kind of like whatever some of the complaints there on the day one part of it. And I don't want to sound like that negative. I mean, it's unfortunate because the negative parts of the event detracted from all the things that they did really well. Like you walked in, you're like, holy cow, there's like a giant TIE fighter. Like the stage area was incredible. Like you walk in and you're like, wow, this stage area is like awesome. So like there was a lot to like be excited about. The problem is like you walked in, you got really excited, like, yeah, we're here, this looks awesome, this giant hall, they have all this stuff set up, and then it's just kind of like deflating to, not actually do anything for 3 hours. So that's just, it's unfortunate for the event that it kind of like detracted from itself in that manner.
Yeah.
So the other weird thing about day one, because they ran out of side event tickets, they allowed you to exchange your side event tickets for prize wall tickets. And it wasn't very clear what the exchange rate was necessarily. They weren't very open about that. I think they just wanted to get the side event tickets back so they could sell more side event tickets. A lot of people did that day one just because of how long the line was. And it's just like, all right, I'll get some tickets and, get some of these prizes right now as opposed to, grinding some pods. I know we'll get into more of the prize wall later, I'm sure, but that in and of itself is an entire topic that we could go off on for a while, I'm sure.
Well, let's get into it now.
All right.
Let's talk about the prize wall. Lots of playmats, lots of promos, lots of cards.
So the first thing I want to say is I think everything that was at the prize wall that you could get was pretty cool. I honestly thought the prizes were good. The cart choices were good. The mats, I walked away with a few of them. They're really cool. Obviously, the Luke and the Vader showcase were the high ticket items, and having seen both of them, and I have a Luke showcase, and I know Sam, you got a Luke showcase as well. They look good. I mean, I think they really stepped up their pricing at this event. Prior to this, I hadn't made it to any of the sectionals or regionals, but I know, Sam, you were at some of those, and I think the pricing was a little lackluster at those.
Promo cards were definitely better. I mean, I like the art of the Galactic promos, the style of them much better. It's kind of like the winner card foiling from the regional and whatever. At regionals and sectors, like the promo cards were more of the like store showdown style art and the like other kind of foiling. So I really didn't want any of the promos that were there at regional and sectors, but these promos, yeah, I think are really sweet, most of them, and I collected a lot of them.
I think the biggest issue came on day 3. So on Saturday, they were advertising that you would be able to exchange your side event tickets for prize wall tickets at basically one side event ticket to 100 prize event tickets. Basically, that was the exchange rate. So what ended up happening is a lot of people just spent an awful lot of money on side event tickets, didn't play in any side events, and just exchanged their tickets for prizing. So there was very little incentive, especially on day 3, to play any side events. And it was really difficult to even want to play in any side events on day 3 because the line for the prize wall was probably about 3 hours long from the back.
Crazy.
So if you spent your time playing side events that day, you weren't in line at the prize wall to actually get any of the prizes. So it was kind of a dilemma. So, I mean, I don't like coming into these things and complain without some kind of solution to the problem, but I'm not quite sure what it is. I mean, if you have side event tickets at the end of an event, you should be able to exchange them for something. Otherwise, it's just sunk money. But maybe the exchange rate should be worse than it was, or, maybe the prize ticket amount you actually get for playing in the side events needs to be higher, because there didn't seem to be much incentive to actually play in the side events. Like I did the Super Sealed on Saturday, which I think that's a really cool event. I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. Anyone who doesn't know, you opened up basically half of a booster box, and then you made a 50 card sealed deck instead of the 30 card. And I thought it was pretty fun. But even going into that was 10 side event tickets. And what ended up happening a lot is a lot of people just split the prize tickets. So it was 400 tickets total per game. If you won, you were supposed to get 300. If you lost, you were supposed to get 100. Oftentimes, we just ended up splitting it 200, just so, it was more of a casual event and not a try-hard thing. But at the end of the 6 rounds, you get 1,200 tickets if you split, which is only 200 more tickets than if you would have just turned those in at the prize wall, and you wouldn't have had to play 6 rounds of an event. So I feel like there wasn't a huge incentive to actually play in the side events.
Right. That kind of stinks.
Yeah.
So
I don't really have much to add on the prize wall. I kind of avoided the day 3 catastrophe, thankfully.
Yeah, you winners got their own prize wall, so
Yeah, it was one of the nicer perks, honestly.
all right. So we heard about Tony's day 1 and unfortunately dropped from the main event. So Sam, let's hear about your main event. How did your main event go? Day 1 by, you got to just chill and wait all day to do nothing.
Yeah, it went pretty well. So if you don't know, I ended up finishing 12th on tiebreakers, missed top 8 on tiebreakers. I was playing a yellow Talzin deck. I think there was only, I don't know, maybe 4 people or something like that on the whole day 2 field that had this deck. I went 9-2, 3, 8, 11. Yeah, 9-2. Unfortunately, my losses were in rounds 3 and 6, so they were a little early, which always hurts your tiebreakers when you take early losses. I had a great time. I mean, the main event was awesome. Like, there were really no issues. There was plenty of space. I thought the table, like the play area, was not overly crowded at all. There was plenty of space, like on the wings and stuff, to sit, to hang out between rounds. It was right near the like bistro area to get grab a snack. They had water stations set up all around the area, so you could just like keep refilling your water bottle as the event went along. It was really nice overall. Like, I thought the play experience itself was great. So yeah, I really, the main event for me was like the star of the show, and I thought they really nailed it. We talked about kind of all the negatives with the side event stuff, but the main event they really kind of hit it out of the park, I thought. The deck list thing, I don't really have much to say on that, so I'm just gonna skip over that. But yeah, I lost both rounds. I lost were to the green Kylo deck.
ECL or Data Vault?
One of each. But but then I beat a whole bunch of Han 2s, a couple red Talzin mirrors, a couple space decks, like Kazuda Red and Boba Data Vault, and then a Sabine deck, and one more I'm forgetting.
What was your last round? I can't remember what it
No,
was.
the last 3 were Boba, Sabine, Kazuda. That was the day 3. I think I played another non-Han Talzin deck on day 1, but I can't think of what it was right now offhand. But yeah, I mean a lot of Han 2, obviously, which was good. I mean, that's kind of what I went into the tournament wanting to have a deck that was good against Han 2 and against Space Aggro, because I thought those were like the 2 things people were gonna do. I will say the Kylo Green matchup was a little bit of a hole in my own testing and preparation because like the testing group, like the Northeast Ohio testing group that I kind of like was helping and participating in, and then our little like group of people, both of them had people that were like pretty early on Gar Saxon ECL as the blue-green deck, and early on I had tried a little bit of Kylo and kind of ruled it out because I'm about to say something kind of like harsh about the Kylo deck, and people who love that deck, forgive me. I'm stating my assumptions here. I'm not stating a fact. But like I kind of ruled it out because I just couldn't imagine like rolling into an event with a deck that dies to aggro that hard, at least in my opinion. And I didn't think as many people were going to opt into that as ended up doing it. But that matchup is pretty tough for Talzin, for sure, the Kylo Green matchup. So, I hit it twice, lost to it twice, won every other game I played. And that's the way it goes.
Yeah. So I just got to say that I'm really confused as to why you did the yellow instead of red so you could have access to Force Throw and Force Lightning.
I'm glad you asked that question. I have
There
three.
might have been a primer a little earlier.
Yeah, I would say 3 reasons. I'll go through. First off, let me just preface this. I'm not here to say the yellow version is definitively better than the red version. I think the red Talzin deck is a great deck, and obviously, like, it won the whole event, so it's a good deck. Reason number 1 is playstyle. I think for me, like the red deck, the has very powerful cards. Force Throw, Force Lightning are very like powerful cards that you play during the course of a Star Wars Unlimited game. They're still pretty much like 1-for-1 cards where and what that I know Force Throw is not a 1-for-1 strictly speaking, but they're like point and shoot cards. And the way that makes the game play out is like the red Talzin deck, you kind of have to like it rewards people who know the right lines against all the decks and like how to correctly deploy their powerful cards, but you kind of have to like play those lines correctly every time. The yellow deck replaces those powerful like kind of single effect cards with these dynamic plays with Xian Flurry and Sneak Attack and Exploit off the Patrol Fighter that like create these big swings in the game. And I think my assessing my own strengths and weaknesses as a player, like my strength as a player is not grinding a million games on a deck and knowing the lines against every single other deck in the field and like how to play every matchup perfectly. My strengths as a player are more in like adjusting in game and making decisions to set up to my outs at the end of the game and like figuring out kind of like what combination of cards I need to keep long term and like doing the kind of in-game planning to get to a good outcome. And I think the tools that the yellow Talzin deck offers suit my gameplay better than the tools the red deck offers, if that makes sense. So that's reason number 1.
I think all you had to say, I appreciate that, but all you had to say was Xian Flurry.
Xian Flurry is amazing. So underrated.
That's been my favorite card. I mean,
Yeah.
that was like how you were very high on the Patrol Fighter early on in set 4. I believe in our group I was very high on Xian Flurry early.
Yeah. I'll say Xian Flurry, a Talzin assassin, often feels better than Xian Flurry, a Vader. It's so sick, man. Anyway, so that's reason 1. Reason 2, I think the yellow version is much better against the Space Aggro deck. I know, like, Baton beat, I think, a Vader Space deck in the top 8. And, probably, I think he said he beat some other Space decks. I honestly, for the life of me, couldn't figure out how the red deck, like, consistently beat Space decks. But the yellow deck gets to play the Ping Fighter, the P-38 guy, which works so well in Talzin's game plan, because, like, they're doing like all this math or whatever combat decisions to try and keep their units away from 1 health so Talzin can't just finish them off. And you get that little like P38 ping coming in and going out. It really just like melds well with what Talzin's trying to do to control the board early on. And like is such a problem for Vader. Like these powerful effects out of the sideboard, like Bamboozle, and I was running 3 electromagnetic pulses in my sideboard to just like really shore up the aggro matchup, in addition to like the waylays and the patrol fighters, which are always amazing against aggro. So I just felt like the yellow version's game plan against these kind of like aggressive decks and strategies was a lot more solid than the red deck's game plan. Now the red deck is probably better against the control decks than yellow is. I think it has more outs with the like burn effects. But I just didn't prioritize that matchup. I prioritized these aggressive matchups instead. And then what was the third thing I was going to say?
Cad Bane.
No, the third thing I was going to say is the same thing I said before, that just like Kylo wasn't really on my radar. And I think the yellow removal suite actually does line up much better against Gar Saxon than the Reds does because all their units are shielded. So the bounce effects are more effective than the like damage removal effects that Red plays. So in my personal testing, again, I already admitted this is a gap in my testing, but where I was playing a lot of Gar Saxon blue-green villain, the yellow version felt better into that than like the lack of testing I did against the Kylo ECL deck. That was the third reason.
Well, I mean,
So,
I know you were
what-
working on it for a while and we're having fun with it. It was kind of, I feel like you went from like Thrawn yellow, right, for a little bit, and we're messing with like the legacy run stuff. And then it's like you identified this Talzin yellow there. So it's cool that to watch you go through this process and then have success with it.
Yeah, for sure. It got to a point where I really wanted to swerve, but I was just like, there's no deck I've played as much as this Talzin Yellow deck, so I'm like locked in on it, just like time ran out, gotta lock it in,
I
So
think with the amount of reps you have on Quinlan, you probably could have swerved to Quinlan, but that's probably about it.
yeah, probably. I think Quinlan's great. I would consider playing Quinlan at a PQ coming up if I was going to one.
So what is it about the Kylo matchup that is a problem for Talzin Yellow?
You don't really kill them fast enough to like. It's not like Sabine and Vader kill them before they can get to flip. But Talzin doesn't have quite that level of aggression, and you don't really have a way to play around the Vader ambush play. So like it's kind of impossible to dodge it. And then once Kylo himself flips, you don't have a great way to get through. I'll say that's the green version. I actually think the matchup, I didn't get to play the Bothan Network deck at all. I kind of wish I had. That's the disappointing thing about the tiebreakers. It's not that I like think I deserve to be in the top 8 more than any of those other guys. Like they had great tournaments, they had better tiebreakers, they're great players. But I think I was pretty well positioned against that top 8. Like I think Talzin Yellow would have been a tough out for any of those decks. But I didn't get to play the Bothan Network deck, but I think the yellow version had a lot of tools inherently to deal with that, like just to keep their early units off the board. And then like the red version, you have to basically like sit on power or force lightning, and it's this like game of chicken you saw Baton and Ian play in the finals of like trying to get your Kylo to play through. And the yellow version, you just like sit on Xian Flurry. As long as you protect Xian Flurry in your hand, like you're never really worried about the Kylo deploy turn. So I don't know. I think the yellow version has good answers to the red Tark Kylo deck. But yeah, green's tough. And then once Kylo deploys, like they hit their late game, you just don't have the same card power to keep up with them, really.
Right, I feel like the green version has better top end.
Yeah, I think the best chance is really just to like pressure them enough early that you force a bad Kylo flip, and then you get to like you pretty much have to Vader Kylo, I think, like ambush Vader Kylo, and if you do that successfully and like you haven't gotten Vadered yourself, then you can close the game. Like you close the game really fast if you get Kylo off the board, so you can close under their big stuff, but it's just tough. Like you're basically drawing to that out, and if they've ramped once or twice, like you're behind them in resources. So that's the matchup.
Anything else on the Talzin deck, or any other things from decks from any cool decks you saw that you're like, oh, that's something I didn't think of, I want to go mess with, or just everything you saw kind of reaffirmed your testing other than the red Kylo?
Yeah, there were a lot of cool decks. I mean, they were most of the cool different decks were like taking angles that I kind of anticipated, like the Han space, the odd Han space deck, like space aggro in general or space strategy was kind of like something I thought everybody should have expected. And then
Yeah,
you know,
especially with like if you expected Talzin and these Han Force decks that are mainly ground focused, like you should expect space as a counter.
yep. The last thing I'll say is I don't think Force Throw is going to be banned, and ironically, I think that's a good thing for the Yellow Talzin deck because Force Throw is kind of what's keeping the blue-green villain decks in check right now. And if it got banned, I think blue-green villain would crush Yellow Talzin out of the metagame. But as long as Force Throw is around, the Yellow Talzin deck I think is could be a reasonable choice depending upon what field you walk into and how the Kylo hate develops from here.
Yeah, then you're gonna see a lot of aggravated parliamentarians come in from the side.
I'll tell you what, I'm putting Kit Fisto's Aether Sprite in pretty much every deck I build now. So
There you
Kid
go.
Fit's Aether Sprite is very good, especially in Kid Fisto. All right, so any other discussion about the main event before we talk about some announcements they made there?
I mean, just generally speaking, I thought they did a pretty good job. I thought, you know, as far as I'm aware, this is the largest event that FFG has ever done for a game. So there's going to be some growing pains. We all know that. So I think we just have to grow with them, quite honestly. Try to keep the criticism constructive and, support them as best they can. I mean, as far as like Sam said, the main event was run great. They had plenty of judges for that. I don't think, as far as I'm aware, I don't think there were any judge calls that went sideways, in either of the, large events. So I think they did a great job there. It was just everything other than the main event, I suppose, which, I mean, is understandable. The main event is what they should have been focusing on, and they obviously did. And it went very well. And the stage was great. The production value of the stream was good from what I saw. Obviously, I was there, so I wasn't watching much of the stream. But yeah, I think, yeah, just as long as they keep moving forward and figure out some of the issues they had this year, I think it'll be even better next year.
Yep. Last comment from me. Everyone I played was super cool. I played multiple people from overseas. I played somebody from Scotland, somebody from Spain. I think maybe a third European player also. But anyway, yeah, everybody was great, and I just thought it was an awesome community playing in the game.
For sure.
Secrets of Power, just real quick. We saw the leaders and we saw a couple cards. I am not prepared. Sorry, Parker.
Fire them up.
Yeah. You want to pick one? Each pick a card you saw you want to talk about? There's only like 7 of them.
I don't even remember them all. Tony, you can go ahead if you have a favorite.
Sure. So I think the new Palpatine leader looks very interesting. So plot is one of the new keywords. So to my understanding is plot is very similar to smuggle, but you can only do it when you deploy your leader. And there's some other cards that allow you to do it at other times, but we'll see how relevant those are. So I don't think his leader side here is anything to write home about. I mean, searching can be good, but I think you're going to fill your deck with enough plot cards that you probably won't be doing that to play below curve. But when he flips, you get to play your first plot card for, what is it, 3 less, I believe? So depending on how these plot cards are priced and, what they look like, you could play 2, 3 separate plot cards when you deploy him at 7. I think that could be very interesting. We've all seen that anything that discounts anything is usually pretty good in this game. So I think that might be worth looking at. And looking at some of the other cards that were spoiled, it seems like there might be some kind of official tribal that they might end up be doing here. There's a lot of officials that are around, so I think that could be very interesting.
Yeah, plot's pretty cool. I don't know what I'm more intrigued by, plot or disclose. I mean, plot's kind of like we've seen that playing things out of the smuggle row now. It's been in the game since set 2. So plot's like a little more restricted than smuggle, obviously. But it's still like draw a card on leader deploy. It's just like those cards have to be good when you play them as non-plot because like you're gonna draw cards after your leader deploy most games and you want to be able to play them.
Yep, for sure.
So we'll see. Disclose is interesting because like depending on how powerful they make the effects, like giving your opponent information about your hand can be a big deal. So the like in-game decision making of do I want my opponent to know I have this card or not is an interesting kind of decision point to make. And like I think casually people will just always disclose, but at the highest levels of play, like this is going to be something you have to like decide if this effect is worth it, giving your opponent that much information.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see this guy being good in Tarkentown decks, but Tarkentown's going to rotate out pretty soon after this set, so we'll see what happens after that. But this could be a quick turn 1 play, and then next turn you do 2 damage to something and take it off the board. But
yeah, I like Disclose. I'll say this, I like Disclose more than I like Plot right now, actually, as a mechanic.
I think that's fair depending on the leader you're playing. If you're playing a leader like Palpatine that flips at 7, that's very late to get all of that power that might come from the plot cards. But I mean, if you think about it, if you play a leader like Sabine, and there's maybe a card that, I don't know, say buffs a unit when it comes out for plot, which I think we saw one. I forget if it was Jar Jar or C-3PO that did that, but one of them does that. So you flip Sabine, you plot out that card, and you have a buff Sabine for the round, get some more damage in. So maybe that's something worth looking at, but yeah, we'll see.
It's Jar Jar that does that. You were correct.
And plus, it's an excuse to play Jar Jar in a deck. So
nobody needs an excuse to play Jar. This is the only one we're talking about, in my opinion. Yeah. So
I didn't want to steal it from you.
We both knew you were going to talk about Cad. So
Cad Bane 4/5 when played defeats something. That's just my guy.
It's devastating gunship, but slightly better stats.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
The other thing
probably will be good with Kira, just like devastating gunship was.
For sure.
Probably.
Flip Kira, damage everything, and he defeats something. So that seems pretty good.
We need a Sheen Flurry for Underworld.
I think Underworld has enough.
Needs more. So not only did they reveal some cards from the new set, but we also got the announcement about the future of organized play. The leaderboard is now live. Sam's on it.
Yeah.
I believe everybody that placed in the top 16 already has enough points. So Sam is already qualified for the Galactic Championship next year.
Woohoo!
So we'll try to run it back. They announced the new point system and point structure, and the leaderboard is live. Do you guys have any? They've been talking about it for over a year, and now it's finally here. So they seem to have delivered on what their plan was. So
yeah, I am most excited about limited competitive events. As you guys know, limited's my favorite way to play the game. I prioritize draft every week over any weekly premiere events that are happening locally in the area. So I'm very excited about that. I'm going to Rochester in 2 weeks to play the Millennium Games Limited PQ. Pumped about that. The point system, I don't know if I have a lot of thoughts about it. I'll say that I was looking at the Season 0 like mock leaderboard that they put up on the competitive hub. And like looking at that and extrapolating it, the point escalations for SQs and RQs are so large, and they're adding more of them, that like I don't think it's going to be possible to finish in like the top 10 just on PQ finishes. Like even if you win a bunch of PQs, there's going to be a dozen people that either win or place second at all of the like SQs and RQs that are happening, and they are going to just blitz past you on the points leaderboard. So I think like if you just want to qualify next year, like that's cool. You can probably do that just like grinding the PQ circuit a little bit. But if you want to like be in the like I said, competing for the top 10, like you have to like almost win one of the major events, and that's it. There's no other path to get there. So
Right, and there is incentive to actually finish high on the leaderboard because you do get a flight to Worlds and you get your hotel room paid for as well. So that's a considerable cost that, you know, they're putting up for that. There's going to be people traveling all over probably. Those of us who can't always do that as much, it's going to be a little tougher.
Yeah, for sure.
But overall, I think it's probably pretty fair. I kind of wish it went down to top 16 for the PQs, but other than that's like my only complaint. But then again, they would have to probably scale that with the number they get at the PQs because of the range of size of those events from, I don't know, we've seen some 20, 30 person ones up to, you know, the 128 that is the max. So if they don't want to deal with sliding scales, this is probably the best way to do it.
Yeah. I will say the one comment I have as an observer, so I was going obviously to be like a panelist and cover it as like media, not to play in the main event. And I'm not just saying this because Sam bubbled, but when you have an event with like over 2,400 people, I feel like you should cut to top 16 at like a minimum. That's just kind of wild to me that you had like 2,400 people and your cut was top 8. Like what? Just seems nuts to me, but I wasn't there, so
no comment from me.
Yeah, I mean, some of us were talking about this the day of the event, and the fact that you can make day 3, but you realistically, like Sam, you won out on day 3, and you didn't make it into the top 8. Like
Yeah.
if you make it to day 3, there should be a path into the top cut for you, in my opinion.
But hey, he's back next year. So.
Yeah. I'm very happy with my finish. I exceeded expectations. I take your point. It's probably a valid point, but I'm just going to say I'm happy with how I did. I have no issues.
100%. And I'm like, your run was great, but it just feels odd that, you know, you can make it to day 3, win out, and oh crap.
I think one of the highlights reading our group chat was when you're like, hey, I think I grabbed the wrong box of cards. And it was like, no, that was actual prizing that you got a sleeved playset of all the promos. Like, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about what you walked away with at all?
No, not really. It's an embarrassing amount of things, honestly. The prizing for doing well in the main event was crazy. Like, I don't know. It was a lot.
But that's how it should be, right? It's Worlds, it's Galactic Championship.
100%. It's
they've
not
had
a criticism.
a year and a half to get this together. So
yeah,
and
that's
overall,
what I'm saying. I felt well rewarded for my play, which is yeah, what you want at a big, you know, at the World Championship.
So would you take Galactic Championship promo or like a top 8 Mace Windu store showdown promo? Which would you?
I don't think that's a real question. But final piece of advice for season 1. Less playmats, more spot glass, cool leader cards for winning things. Let's have that. Let's get that in the works, FFG.
Yeah, even bases. Like,
yeah.
The cool, like
anything that stays on the board the entire time.
Yeah.
I got too many playmats now. No more. I don't need any more playmats. Give me some cool cards I can put out on the table.
Dude, playmats have been like, how many 4-speed playmats do you have from Destiny, right?
Yeah, I have at least 2 or 3 of those, the Kylo Ray ones that were like the last set or whatever. So
they love playmats, man. That's not stop.
But the funny thing is they don't do playmats for PQs or store showdowns for this game. So I don't know.
All right, well, that was it. We wanted to talk about your guys' experience at the Galactic Championship, talk about Sam's mistake in playing yellow Talzin instead of red. That was for John.
Terrible error. Terrible decision.
The worst.
Did well even with the dumpster fire of a deck in John's words. So good job. Glad you guys had a good time. Sorry I couldn't abuse you guys out there.
We missed you.
Any closing remarks for the people out there?
Everybody play more limited. Maybe SAGA will have some limited content coming in the future. I would love to help out with that. That's it. Closing remark.
Hold on. Taking notes.
All I can say is I wish Central Pennsylvania did a little bit more limited, so I could actually get some reps in.
So I'm writing down. I don't know if you can hear me. Play more. Got it. It's done deal now. I learned that from Mr. Chip. All right.
This
That's
was awesome. Yeah.
Thanks again for being here, guys, and we'll see you in the arenas.
See ya.